Macron in France takes his fucking $80,000 watch off under the table.
Yes, he did. And we're going to be breaking down not just the fact that he took off his watch and how, but why he took off his watch. That is the real question. I always like to look a little deeper. And I'm bringing you what Joe Rogan actually thought about this whole situation, because he has some key words for Macron, or rather has some key words that he called Macron about this whole situation. You guys know me, coolest high performance coach in the world, Coach Colin. And if you want the absolute best insights to the podcasts and videos you love, hit that subscribe button. But for now, let's get straight into the breakdown. So what I'm going to do here on this screen is give you a little play-by-play of what everybody's talking about. So this is him with the watch on. This is him with the watch off. Now, the reason why everybody's picking this apart is because when this first happened, his team and, various people were saying, he didn't take his watch off. What are you talking about? A lot of people didn't notice. And then people started breaking it down. And then people started, doing exactly what we got going on here. They started doing side-by-sides and everything like that. And then we verified, yes, he did take his watch off. But why did he take his watch off? We're going to answer that later in the video. But let me just do this breakdown for you quick. And also you're going to see the little shimmy shake he does under the table to take off the watch, which nobody noticed. And by nobody, I mean every single person in the world noticed. Let's get into it. So there you go. You got the side by side. People are just showing. He has his watch on. Goes below the table. He's shaking around a little bit, popping that watch off. Little table right here. He's about to put the watch right onto the table. There you go. Hands back up. No watch on. And that is what everybody started noticing.
Literally up.
This is
in
about the
arms.
Social Security change?
Yes.
Yeah.
Macron in France takes his fucking $80,000 watch off under the table while he's talking to people about tightening up and about how this has to be done. Like, the guy's wearing a fucking find out what watch he was wearing, because you're a watch head. You would like this. But the fact that this dork thought it was a good move to take his fucking watch off under the table.
So I completely agree with the dork statement. That is just, me and Joe are on the exact same page there. But a lot of people were saying that the watch was $80,000. And according to people who have updated, and even Joe himself, we realized that the watch was actually worth more like $2,500 US. So basically this article is just stating that fact. The actual watch is called a Bell & Ross, valued at $2,110, 10 euros. So that would come out to about $2,500 US around. For the past 18 months, he sported the same watch, noted at the World Cup of Football in Qatar. Now we're going to move on to the argument. The argument that was being made was that he took off that watch because he knew he was asking people for sacrifices. But his aides actually have a different story. They say that it was clanging on the table. Let me just go up here a little bit. The watch was removed, according to his aides, because it was clanking on the table. In fact, he just took it off as he mentioned blockages, and it can be heard hitting the table. But his detractors have asserted that the watch proves that he is disconnected from the general populace. Now, it's funny that this article says that, because people in the government, in the French government, actually have pretty much the same thing to say about him.
Meanwhile, opposition leaders are calling into question the legitimacy of his government.
We are getting a stronger and stronger sense that this man is completely disconnected from reality, only for him to come and tell us that we are the ones in denial.
By laying into the workers of France, he once again showed contempt for a section of French society.
Now, coming back to this, just to give you the ending of the statement given by the aides, they say the president did not remove his watch in order to hide it, but because it was heavily banging against the table, the noise was clearly audible. Only a few seconds before the beginning of the video shared on social media.
Luxury watch during the interview. So does it say what kind of watch? Some wrongly claimed it was worth up to 80,000 pounds or $86,000. But Elise Palace said this was not correct. Well, what's the fucking watch? Tell me what the watch is, you criminals. So he took the watch off. He took the watch off during his interview about his the controversial pension changes. That is fucking hilarious. What a douchebag.
Now, here's the real thing that's going to make why he took the watch off clear. Because when we watch him, when you and I were just watching him do it, well, you know, I don't understand French. I don't know what he was saying. And I think that makes the most sense. What was he saying as he was taking the watch off? That's going to give us a true insight into why he did it.
After his government won a confidence vote by only 9 votes on Monday, President Macron is undeterred. Speaking publicly for the first time since Monday's humiliation, the president recognized the unpopularity of his pension reform bill, but claimed it was both essential and urgent, setting the end of the year as his deadline.
The system is no longer balanced, and there aren't 36 ways of balancing it. The longer we wait, the worse it gets. I'm telling the French people, it gives me no pleasure to do this. I'm doing it out of the sense of responsibility.
Emmanuel Macron also commented on the intransigence of the unions.
There were no compromises offered, so it fell to the government and to Parliament to work on the text of the bill.
So to me, it's very clear. He's talking about responsibility. He's talking about he doesn't want to have to do this. He's talking about there's no other solution. He's basically saying, you know, where else are we going to find the money in this situation? So of course, while he's making this plea and kind of demand of sorts, obviously he's going to reach down and be like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be wearing this watch right now, because he knows they already call him, in France, if you don't know, they already call him the president of the rich, right? They already look at him like somebody who's disconnected from the reality of the citizens. So for him to be saying this and have that watch on, it's just like, oh, well, perfect. This is the let them eat cake moment. You know, this is the moment that they're going to use. So he tried to just take that off as quick as possible. He knew he couldn't stop the interview because then he'd have to acknowledge that in front of the two people interviewing him. And then they might actually say that out loud to some kind of press. So in my mind, this kind of solidifies what he was trying to do and why he took this watch off. It's because he knows that he's asking the people who don't have to be, he's asking the have-nots to stay comfortable in that position, while he is visibly someone who has in abundance.
That's hilarious that he did that, though. Like, why would he do that? That's a dumb move, because it's not even that expensive a watch. It's a nice watch, but
Yeah.
but still,
But it draws more attention when you take it off.
shows what a cunt he is. He's like, oh, I gotta take this watch off. Then he decided he had to take the watch off. It's fucking funny. That's funny.
Again, Joe is spot on. I would expect nothing less from someone who is a part of the WEF. I mean that wholeheartedly. Their actions always benefit the Agenda 2030. Their actions always benefit the stakeholders, which is the powerful and the rich. And they never, ever benefit the people. And pray for France, because it seems like they've had enough. And in some ways, although it is painful to watch, it's a good thing.
On the eve of the 9th day of general strikes over the reform, his comments angered union leaders.
This interview is a mockery, and most of all, an insult to the millions of people protesting. Tomorrow, the response has to be in the streets.